listening to Naughty Narratives, your weekly dose of hot takes, plot twists, and unfiltered book talk with your favorite romance-obsessed besties, Maddie and Kyla. What up?
Hello.
Welcome back, everybody.
Episode 8.
Quicksilver.
Yes.
What are our thoughts right off the bat?
I loved the book, but I am huge into that specific style of fantasy.
Okay, fair. I enjoyed it for the most part. I thought it was slow, slightly, in the beginning, at least.
Slightly, it is.
The
It's
first,
okay.
400 pages or so,
Yeah, no, that's valid.
But it was good. I did enjoy the ending for the most part. I am excited for the second one.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I'm so glad. I listened to this book, and I do think that it's better on audiobook than it is in paperback version.
Maybe I'll have to try that. I don't know. There was nothing, the detail was great all the way through, but there was nothing grasping me in those first few hundred pages that was like, yeah, you really need to finish this. I really finished it because of this.
I almost DNF'd this book. When people say it's slow, I 100% agree with them. It is slow, but I also think it's necessary to have that much detail in the beginning to answer
I don't
questions
disagree.
at the end. So
There were a lot of I was going back through for notes, and a lot of the questions that I had at the beginning of the book were answered, I would say, by the end of it. If not, I feel like they will be answered in the next one.
Right. Well, what are your favorite characters?
I think originally, well, it started off as Archer. He was my favorite for a while, and we don't hear as much from him later on in the book. He's just kind of a blip through her beginning when she gets to that Fae world, but he was one of my favorites. I think he's hilarious, and his reaction to everything, from her sitting at the wrong spot at the table to, I mean, even the way that she addresses him, I think it's funny that Archer freaked out so much over it. But in the end, I honestly think that Carrion was probably my favorite character.
Yes, Carrion was also my favorite character for sure, but not at the beginning. When I first read the book, I wasn't a big. I mean, he was just kind of an asshole.
He is, and I was fairly convinced for a while there that he was in love with her, but no, it would seem not.
No. But yeah, I liked Carrion at the end of the book.
I
For
did
sure.
too. He got a
Especially when
good
they were in that
ending.
maze.
Oh yeah. I think my liking for him really started with the boot scene when he lost his boot. I don't know why, but I find that hilarious. I think it's because it reminds me of Yang from Grey's when they get in the plane crash and she loses her shoe and she freaks out over it. She's like, my shoe! Where's my shoe? That's what kept going through my head.
That's so funny. I've watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy, but I think right around the plane crash every time is where I putter out and I can't get through it anymore.
Honestly, that's fair. It's a long series. So,
yeah.
But that scene reminded me a lot of that because he's like, where the hell is my boot?
What did you do with it?
What did you do with it? Where'd it go?
That's so funny. What did you think about the 6-ounce water ration?
That was wild to me as somebody who drinks 3 44-ounce water bottles a day.
Right?
I cannot even fathom drinking not less than a glass of water a day. That's not even a normal size glass of water.
No. No, that's that's not even half of a water bottle, like a
No.
16 ounce. Like you're literally like,
And they live in the desert. It's unbelievable to me that they actually survive the way that they do
yeah,
because
'cause it's a desert. It kind of reminds me of the dunes. The way they talk about it, I just imagine
Mhm.
that they had taken that and put them in Sand Hollow.
That's kind of what I was imagining too. Like they just had this kingdom and they dropped it in the center of the dunes.
Mhm.
And that's what it was. I also kept picturing more towards the end of the book, like the maze runner. It's kind of the vibes I
Mm.
was getting when they were going through the maze at the end and everything was changing.
Right, right. That's fair. That I never actually put that together, but now that you said that, I'm like, okay, valid. I can see that.
I liked that though. I don't know. I honestly the entire thing was really good. I just it kind of lost me in the beginning. I was really what's the word? Interested when she had her little battle with the guards over the glove. That was pretty that was a grasping point for me. Like I feel like there were good grasping points throughout the entire book, but it wasn't like one solid chapter that sat there and dragged you in.
Yeah, no, I can totally get that because it would be, it was like a moment of like an intense moment that pulled you in,
Hmm.
and then but it was very quick. They were always just like a blip, and then long, detailed chapters,
Right.
and then it was like she knew that people were going to be like, no, I can't do this anymore.
Well, and let's talk about like I think it's hilarious in the beginning of the book that she has this character who is seemingly so smart. She knows her way around the third. She knows her ins and outs of the people, the bars, all the things. And yet she's stupid enough to steal a gauntlet
Yeah, and bring it back home.
and bring it home. Mhm.
Yeah.
I think honestly the most heart-wrenching part of that entire scene was the ending and the way that she spoke to Hayden when she was being dragged back to the castle.
For sure. And I mean, I get it. You don't want him to risk his life, right?
Right.
You're saving him, but at what cost? Like you
Right.
literally destroyed any ounce of self he had.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, for sure.
Oh, that part that was hard for me. I didn't like reading that. It made me sad.
That's fair. Yeah, I get that. I think I teared up a little bit where I was like, that's heart wrenching on both sides to have to tell your brother these
Yeah.
things that you don't necessarily truly believe about him,
Right.
but you're trying to save his life.
Right. How do you feel about Madra? Because from the get-go, I had questions about her freaking eternal life and how the hell she was doing that.
Uh huh.
And I mean, it's not really even answered by the end of it what's happening there, but I feel like it has something to do with Malcolm.
I definitely think it has something to do with Malcolm. I think I obviously, I mean, you can't live for 1,000 years
Right.
as a mortal, so there's had to have been something. Um,
And she's not Fae, right?
no,
No pointed ears, at least.
right. Um, I don't know. I don't. I think it has something to do with Malcolm, and I definitely think it's going to be something brought up in the second book.
Hmm.
But I liked the way that it came full circle. Like when she went to the Feylands, we didn't just forget about the mortal realm and about Madra.
Right.
She became part of the second half of that book, even though it took a long time. So
Right.
so because I would have probably been a little disappointed if we didn't answer that question by the end or have some kind of,
I
maybe
agree.
we'll learn more.
Because I was happy to hear too that she's going to go back for Elroy and Hayden. So I
Mhm.
liked that they covered that in the ending of the book as well.
Right.
I was thrown off by Belkin or Belicon, however you pronounce his name. I was not expecting him to be part of the three.
That's fair. That's I don't know, I was kind of suspicious of him because the way they had to hide from him and
I just assumed, it's his wife's bastard son, essentially. Like, he doesn't care for him. He hates him. When we got further and Everlane started to become more a part of things and she gets taken by the feeders, that was a little more when I was like, okay, maybe he's involved in some way. But I was not expecting it to the extent that he was.
right.
I mean, feeding the man's army, for hell's sake. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I think I was suspicious because he wasn't helping Kingfisher. Like he was basically like, no, that fight's not important. It's not. We don't need to worry about it. And that was kind of weird to me. But at the same time, it was like maybe he just doesn't truly know because he won't come down there because of Kingfisher.
Right.
So
interesting.
But in the end, did you like Kingfisher or not?
Yes. The only thing that really bothered me about him, I didn't even really mind the assholeness. I feel like that's just kind of common.
Yeah.
What I didn't like were some of the gross ass remarks that he would make to her. Like, we can stop talking about being able to smell if somebody is essentially in heat or not. Shut up. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's nasty. I don't want to know.
That's so funny. You're like, no, thank you.
And there's one. Let's see. I have it written down. Let me see what page it's on here. I wrote it down because it kind of pissed me off when I heard it. Honestly, I was like, "What?" Or read it, I should say. I was like, "Who just talks to somebody like this?" But he says, "Maybe the issue is that you asked me a question about my cock, like a hungry, and it goes on, and I won't read all of it because I don't know who listens to our podcast fully, but
it's 18 and plus on Spotify." I made sure.
But I read that and I was like, that is so grotesque in so many ways. I personally don't understand how she was attracted to him in the beginning. I understand it at the end because they're fated to be together. But I was like, girlfriend, have some self-worth here. We do not need to like a man who speaks to us this way.
But I think part of that is the Quicksilver itself, though.
I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
I don't think he would be as vulgar or rash. Mm-hmm. Yeah, without it.
I don't disagree.
So.
I would like to see an illustration of his eye.
Is that not what's on the cover? Oh, I guess it's just
we see the drip, but it'd be cool to see it.
And these covers are actually going away. She has new ones. Yes. So we got the first edition covers.
Cool.
I know. Those are the ones that the author herself, designed, and then she got picked up by a different publisher. So
very cool. Good for her. I also really liked the subtle mention of his neck guard constantly. I had a feeling that was going to end up being foreshadowing for where he was, because I found it bizarre that he'd be banished somewhere for so long, and I don't know, something just fell off about that.
Mm-hmm.
But it made sense after learning that he was with a whole bunch of vampires and with some weird ass vampire demon spider thing trapped in a fucking
that thing was creepy. When I was listening to that portion of the book, I literally was like, oh god, because it just, I don't know, spiders.
No, neither do I. I sat there reading it with the most disgusted look on my face. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not in this book right now.
Right?
And then I saw your TikTok about being okay with being in the last book that you read, and I was like, fuck no. Fuck no.
Okay, well, I would hopefully avoid the giant spider vampire thing, but
more Phil, more Till.
yeah.
Thing is terrifying.
Yeah, not a fan.
Oh, I was going to say something else. Oh, no.
Mhm.
Yes. Did we ever learn? I don't think we did. Why all power had been lost to humans? Because there's the subtle mentioning that they sell elixirs and potions and things like that that could possibly give you the hint of having power, but we never really hear why or where.
I thought it was because Mounder killed them all.
Is that why? I
Yeah, I think she literally like eugenics out all of the magic users out of the human line.
I guess my question then is more so how do you do that? Because in my head, an alchemist would technically be considered magic. I mean, they can control metal. But,
Yeah, that
you
was
know,
why. That was why at the beginning, like Sarah Swain was like, "Nope, you
right,
have no idea what I can do. Like that's not that.
right,
It's a magic or it's a parlor trick. That was what It's not actual magic. But I think it's because Magic killed them all.
but I wonder if there's somehow more
Probably.
hiding the way that because I mean they mentioned that there's more alchemists more than likely hiding that just aren't as powerful as Ceres.
I
So I
mean,
don't
I
know.
think
It'll be
Carrion
interesting.
was hidden in the human world for
Yeah.
all that time too. So
And it made so much more sense as to why he came back in Hayden's place
Mhm.
once we found out that he was also Fae.
Mhm.
That part was badass. I was confused. I was like, holy shit, this man's ego. He's really just gonna sit there while this guy gnaws on his neck and act like nothing is wrong. And then I realized why. And I was like, oh, that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah, no, it was a really good twist to
It
his
was.
character. Like I loved that.
She
Um
hid that well.
Mhm. For sure. But then when you like think about it, there's little stuff throughout that you're like him not being as alarmed about it being in the Fey world as
Yeah,
she was, stuff like that that just sprinkled in throughout that you just figured he was an egotistic asshole. And
right.
then you find out that no, not quite it.
How do you feel about Danya? She's a brat, in my personal opinion.
I am trying, not gonna lie, to remember who that was.
She is the original wielder of Lorith's sword.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I didn't like her at all. I thought she was um this is going to actually go back to the last series that we read, almost like Lorne.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of the vibes I was getting from her.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if she was in love with him or not.
Yeah.
I kept wondering, and then the whole table scene happened, and I was like, yes, I think you are in love with him. I don't know what degree, but Jesus.
No, I definitely was sitting there going, this bitch is crazy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it reminds me of is Lorne from the Quarter Ravens duology. Not
It
to the
reminded me of that too.
extreme,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
Still, her brattiness was like reminded me of a little kid. I was like, come on now.
Valid.
Let's talk about Saris watching her mom die as a kid.
I can't
That
even
was hard to read.
Yeah, and the way it's so descriptive, and then yeah,
vulgarly descriptive for those of you who maybe haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
Seems a little rough
it's brutal for sure. It made me cry.
too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I definitely, I don't know, I am curious to see if we find out more about her parents in the second book, because I am curious which parent carried the Fae. I'm assuming dad, since her mom was like a prostitute basically and all of those things. But
I can't. Didn't they talk about her mom picking her name though? And
I think
Seraphine
so.
is a Fae name.
Yeah,
So I always assumed it was her mom that it came from.
maybe it is. I don't know. I just
Sorry. He's mad at a cat for walking near him. The cat's not even think it's
how dare
dumb.
the cat.
If it's not one animal like if it's not your cat, it's my dog's or my kid's. Never get
My
a moment of
cat's
peace.
currently asleep in the window. Thank God. I was actually a little worried. Normally I kick her out of the room.
Oh. And I can't win, so.
uh, why do you think Nimrel and Solus were two of the only swords that continued to like hold power? Do you think it was just because the Quicksilver wasn't activated in all of them, or was there some historical reason as to why only two of those swords had decided to stick around? You know,
I don't know. You know, I don't even think I thought about it.
I was really curious about that.
Like now that you say that, I'm like, Nimrel was Kingfisher's, right?
Mm-hmm.
I maybe I assumed that because Nimrel was his and he, I mean, could communicate kind of with the Quicksilver, you know,
Right.
that maybe that's why. But he didn't know how to make the relics, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. That's a
Well,
good
and I
question.
guess because Solus is Kingfisher's dad's, which ends up being Ceres's, but then we also have Loris, which is technically the third.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that one, she awakens the Quicksilver in, or she gets it to morph.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm curious if it has to do with that, or if there was something else that happened. If the three maybe had something to do with it, or
I don't know. I guess I just never really thought about that part of it. That's a good question. I hope that's answered in the book too, because now
yeah,
I'm perplexed.
yeah, we'll have to keep our eye out for that one
If anybody knows,
or
drop it in
that.
the comments.
Can we talk about their god bindings? I thought that was the coolest fucking thing.
Right?
Like, they bang and then she just gets new tattoos. How cool.
Sick. Oh my gosh. I really appreciated, like, it was kind of a moment of where Kingfisher's not an asshole, where
Mhm.
he lets her choose whether
Yeah.
she keeps them or not.
I
He
really
doesn't force
liked
them on
that
her.
too. Because the first time he kind of makes her keep the one.
Mm-hmm.
It also explains why he freaked out so much the first time that they slept together. I could not understand why he was being such a prick and ignoring her the way that he was. I was like, fine, you want to just be like a regular fucking guy? Go be that way then. Like, I was getting annoyed. And then I got to that chapter and I was like, oh, that makes logical sense.
Mm-hmm. Right. I also his mom's like journal, was it her journal? This or
Yes.
we're up talking about Sarah Spain and her being Faye and all of that.
Mhm.
Like that got to me a little bit too, where I was like, that it makes more sense why he made the decisions he did, because his fated mate wasn't Fae like it was supposed to be, and
Right.
so he won't get to grow old with her. Although I think she'll become Fae in book 2, but that's
I don't know. I am curious how book 2 is going to go. I kind of want to see more. Well, I want to know more about what the Quicksilver is doing to him, because we got to see a couple of his episodes, but I would have liked to have seen more in depth, like when Saris was laying in bed with him trying to stop the one attack from happening. I think I want to see the actual healing that Talena and Ishabel do,
something.
since they're taking that to new lengths
Right.
at the end of the book. I'd like to see more of that in the next one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the Quicksilver still seems like this mysterious substance. I mean, we get a little insight into it, but not as much as we probably would have liked to have seen.
No, and she doesn't end up making as many relics as we think we're going to end up seeing either, just due to the events that happen. So I'm curious if they'll go back to that, or if
What's the plan?
yeah, it's all going to be a little more up in the air now. I also, did you notice at the end of the book, Malcolm mentions, or maybe it's Belcon, but it's after Fisher drives the knife through Belcon's throat and they get away and they are recaptured when they make it to the coins. And Belkin says that you have to kill all three, or, take down all three, but then they kill Malcolm. And Malcolm's just dead. The other two are left living. They both ran. So what is that going to be? If all three of you have to die, is Malcolm going to come back? Or is the immortality of the other two going to fade due to him no longer being around?
That's a good question. I think I just assumed Malcolm would come back, but
that's kind of what I assumed too, but then we just never hear that. So
right. The assumption is that he's dead, which if they need all three, that's a good question too. Oh, I can't wait for book 2 to answer all these questions.
I am excited for book 2, honestly. I think it's going to be good.
I think it's like November when it comes out, so we have a ways to go, but
Also, Malcolm's gay, right?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Listen, I'm not, my gaydar isn't great, but I'm pretty sure.
Just the way that he was calling Kingfisher my love and talking about how beautiful he was, it was an inkling, I guess, or I don't know what you want to call that, but
no, I'm pretty
sure
like
he's
gay. So
interesting. I want to know more about the other vampire as well, who's alive in the end, who ends up changing her. I can't remember his name for some reason. But he's also the one who holds up Everlane when I can't. What is his name? Taladius.
I know who you're talking about.
I want to know more what his part was. Why did was he just doing what Malcolm asked as a cover, or because he clearly was working with Fisher in some way? At least it seems that way by the end of it.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
And where's Onyx? I need that by the end.
Yeah. What is up with all these books given, like, if you fall in love with a pet?
Yeah, I don't.
And then they just never mention the fucking pet again.
I don't know, because he's mentioned through almost the entire thing. Like, and then by the end, we just don't. We don't really know where he is. So, I would like to know. by the end of book 2 where he's at.
Just the fox is alive, like
Exactly.
something. That's so funny. I say that about the pets being mentioned and then never talked about again, but I definitely committed that crime in my second book. So,
Oh, great. I'm taking your book with me next week, so
oh,
it'll
good.
be a good one to read on the drive.
I it wasn't intentional. It just kind of happened.
I love
No.
it.
Like as soon as I said that, I was like, "You committed that crime." Oh
Um,
god.
also, I do think it was really cool earlier in the book after, Kingfisher kind of makes fun of her for being a weak human, and then she proves herself fighting against multiple feeders and she gets celebrated as a warrior. That was really fucking cool. I liked that the author put that in there. Like,
Yes, so do I.
I
It's
really enjoyed that.
yeah, it was a nice little oh my gosh, words are hard tonight,
It's
I
a good
guess.
break from the violence.
A good break from the violence, but it also makes the separation of the species less,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it's still important to the story, but it's not as detrimental, like to be
Right,
human, whatever.
right.
No, yeah, I liked that too.
It was cool that she added as many creatures in there. She did as well. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you'll kind of just skip over them, but she does talk about a fair amount of fairies and fae and sprites and things, and that's
Yeah,
really cool in my opinion. I did like that.
yeah, and I can't imagine the difficulty in keeping all of that straight and
No,
knowing what's what, and
seriously.
yeah, no, that was super impressive to me. The detail in this book is insane,
It
and
is.
even though it's so slow, the detail, I mean, that's why.
There's a lot of twists in there. I mean, we have the carrion twist, we get the fated mates, and then I feel like um oh my god, there was another one. Where did it just go? It just left my brain.
Mm.
Shit. Well,
But there were a lot of twists.
vampires. I wasn't expecting it to be vampires, personally. I mean,
That's fair.
I kind of, especially the Fae having the long fangs and everything. That was not ever something that I had seen. I've read Fae books before, but never have I had vampirism
With
mixed
the
in
Fae
there.
books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
No,
that
I
was
really
pretty
like that.
cool.
I like that aspect too. That was totally different. And yeah, I don't think I've ever read a book that combined both either.
I like it. Book two needs to come out.
I know. Why do we do this to ourselves where we read a series or the first book in a series and the next book is years or months away? Years, Rebecca Yaros.
Years.
Oh
I
my
don't
God.
know. It is insanely frustrating, though.
I know. And we do it
I
to ourselves all the time.
I understand that you guys have lives, okay? Ever so slightly. I mean, I don't, so you shouldn't either. No, I'm just kidding. But I do wish you would write them quicker and put them out faster because I'm bored.
But also, I don't want them to be shitty. So take your
No,
time.
take your time.
Take your time fast.
Yeah.
Oh no, I get that. I totally get it. Because yeah, it's you want it to be good, but you want the answers. I don't like. I say I don't like cliffhangers, but I do like cliffhangers. But I don't like cliffhangers.
I do and I don't. Do and I
Yeah,
don't.
and I need my questions answered. But also, thank you for making me want to read the next book.
See, and that was something that I liked about this one is that I felt like most of our questions were answered and it didn't end us on this giant ass cliffhanger. I mean, there are questions, but I don't feel like it was unfinished. Like if
Mhm.
there wasn't a second book, I could be okay. I'm very happy that there is, but it was good where she ended it also, if that makes any sense, you know?
Yeah, no, it does, because like everything is answered. It's not like Onyx Storm, which literally ends on a huge fucking cliffhanger.
Her one-liners, man.
Yeah, she did that with Fourth Wing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if she did it with Iron Flame, but I know
She did it with all three. I'm pretty positive.
I'm pretty positive she did too. So. Dang it. She did a free book event recently, like a ebook event. I didn't get to download any, but
I remember seeing that actually. I don't think I downloaded any from that either.
I saw it and I was like, I should do that. And then God knows what I was doing when I got home. Wasn't that?
I did start our next book today.
Yes.
About 30 pages into that one so far. And I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's odd.
Oh, really? Are you going to tell them what we're reading, or are we just going to leave that on a cliffhanger?
No, I was going to tell them. So,
take a guess.
We are reading The Ritual by Chantal Tessier. That's
I'm terrible with names.
But Chantel's her first name. It is called The Ritual, but it's really good so far. I've had a lot of recommendations for this one. Kyler recommended this one to me as well as a few other people. And it's always on my For You page. It's been sitting in my drawer since Christmas, and I decided that we should read it.
Yes. No, I'm totally down for it.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I didn't get to start that one because, as you know, I was doing some schoolwork, but
right.
I should almost be done this week. I'm hoping that Saturday I will be done and graduated and moving on with my life.
Hell yes. Very proud of you.
Thank you.
Start my new job tomorrow, so I'm very excited about that.
Congratulations.
No more working for a-holes. I'm going to work for good people now. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Good things.
Oh my gosh. Look at us moving up in the world.
I know.
This podcast that we love doing.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get your new shirts next week.
I know. I bought the yarn for your shorts today.
Oh, yeah. Look at us go, guys. We're being productive. Which all of you listening may laugh at us for that, but if you know us personally, you know how hard it is for us to be fucking productive.
Literally.
With our illnesses.
Literally. I mean, I'm coming up there literally to be in the hospital for a week.
Which, by the way, I don't think I've told you yet, but I get to be there next Tuesday. I get to do a day trip because I have to go out there for testing.
Oh, sweet. So we'll be in the hospital together. Besties.
Yep.
But yeah, no, so we love doing the podcast because we love reading, but
right.
Some things get missed. So which is why, if you're wondering why social media is on our greatest aspect,
we'll get there. We'll get better.
No. Yeah, no. And Maddie does all of our social media. She does a fantastic job, don't get it wrong, but it's just we just don't have the energy to dedicate to the marketing aspect.
Yeah, but working on it. We'll get there. Things will keep flowing. And that's all that we can hope for.
Hey, we are almost at 100 listeners on Spotify.
That's amazing.
I think we're at like 87 as of like this morning.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you, all of you.
Yes.
I know that Alex's parents always tell me when they listen to it.
Oh, really? Oh, I love that. I love that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to look right now because
my cat just fell off the shelf. She was sleeping on. Are you okay?
I was wondering what that was. I heard it, but I didn't know what that was.
She rolled off the windowsill.
So it has gone up since I looked this morning. We are now at 90 listeners. I don't know if you can see it.
That's freaking amazing.
So, yep.
Wow.
90 whole listeners. Well, so thank you guys.
Seriously, thank you.
This is like a dream of ours, is to talk about books and just
honestly, just to be able to sit there and talk like this with you guys, and I don't know, we've both talked about podcasting before, but I don't think either of us expected it to go
Come
like
to-
this.
Yeah, or come to fruition. Even it was like
Mhm.
a dream that we had, and then we were like, let's just
Right.
do it. So,
Right.
on that note, please like and subscribe because it's what helps us, and share with others. Like, it helps us the most. And you can find us on social media, on pretty much every social media,
Mhm.
with @Naughty
We
Narratives.
we really appreciate any DMs, emails, anything you guys want to send in, questions, comments, new books, new authors, whatever you guys have, throw it our way.
Please, 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 please. Thank you, and have a good night.
Bye, everybody.